Immortal, the Invisible War is a TTRPG that exists. It was written by a person named Rand Ackles and published by a company called Precedence Publishing. As we descend into this madness, I want you to remember something. Your truth is a lie and the lie is what protects you. Immortal, the Invisible War is about a group of immortals from before time who escape the fall of Atlantis by perpetually reincarnating themselves in a seemingly never-ending cycle of everything, defying the laws of samsara and making sure that they never reach real nirvana. As an immortal, you can't die, really. You'll just come back and back as a ghost or your new body unless your Vox is destroyed, which stops you from playing your song to vibrate back to life. Notepad, are you having a stroke? No, I'm trying to summarize a 1990s drug-filled Hyperborean event into a relatively digestible format under 5 minutes. Most of the actual book is about explaining how the world works and how that world also doesn't work because you're a walking contradiction. There are 3 editions to this game, and the final one is technically free due to the author taking his ball, leaving, and huffing coke off of it later. But the system is a D10 dice pool. I think, sort of. Every die you receive is called a hostile, representing a problem taking place, color-coded based on the skill being used. If my immortal demigod is walking across ice, that's a movement hostile. But it's also during a snowstorm, so that's an awareness hostile. But wait, even worse, I need to solve a Rubik's Cube, which is also an expertise hostile, but since it's also freezing cold and I'm completely shirtless, I'll also need to roll a resilience hostile. 4 hostiles: movement, awareness, expertise, and resilience, all working against my Gachimuchi ice skating routine. Each one will be rolled and need to beat a target number of the situation, which can be, in very dire circumstances, different for every single one of them. We roll the dice and attempt to beat the difficulty of, let's say, 9 for all of them. First, we roll the dice. Our spread of 4, 5, 7, 8 isn't great. No automatic successes on any of these. But then we'll add our motes from our halo, effectively our attributes, which are the same as the difficulties being used. As you can see, we quickly bypass the expertise and resilience roll with flying colors and eke out a win with our awareness. Movement is still 2 off though. If we do nothing, we will fail the check. If any hostile fails, the entire check is moot. But since we're overly successful in other places, we can transfer our successes over to failing dice, emerging successful despite the odds. If we ever roll a 0 though, or a null, we automatically fail the roll without any recourse. Zeros are the most dangerous thing you have to deal with. This, of course, applies to every single roll you make, meaning that in goofier situations, creating a simple but manageable difficulty is arguably better for you in the long run. But this also applies to combat, forcing you to Highlander that shit, trying to beat one another's die roll in a whirlwind of decapitating strikes, especially dealing how we're working with wounds that are pretty easy to get and a lot harder to get rid of. The odd thing is that Immortal is best when it's trying to be Highlander. Immortals with vast swaths of experience battling it out for the fate of the world. Cadres of these heroes from another age fighting against some impossible enemy. It gets less good but more interesting when it starts dealing with the fact that the Perry clan can transform into weapons, or how the Banjacks want to destroy everyone, or how JFK was assassinated by a byproduct of an immortal death war. I need to keep this under half an hour, but there's a lot in this book to really explain the lore. Magic is a completely different set of dice relying on singing a song to vibrate reality correctly, each of the factions having entirely different abilities and skills, an entire convoluted skill system on top of that with a bit of everything in it, the fact that you can begin glowing with power as you go super duper Saiyan, and even the idea of poison being an absolute terror because if you get hit with it, your body doesn't actually process the poison out. Is Immortal the Invisible War 1E good? That's a loaded question. Is the game interesting? Hell yeah, it's clearly an artist's baby child and someone who smoked a lot during the 80s. It is an interesting read to see what the counterculture of the 90s and the derivatives of the World of Darkness actually looked like. Yeah, though I would say if you do find 1E, use the quick start and back of the book instead of the actual book due to it being kind of a nightmare to find anything. I should go over 3rd edition, shouldn't I? My name is Notepad, and this was Immortal, the Invisible War 1st edition. If you like what I do here, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Many thanks to the Scions of Pride Aramite for their continued financial assistance in the coup against Banjacks. And remember, there can be only one.